You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Good day to you all. Welcome to the new. I'm your host, Randy Perham. So, happy Motivated Monday. And yes, I want you to be mad as hell. That was a clip from Network. 1976. What were you doing in 1976? I know what I was doing. Trying to figure out how to get out into the world. But anyways, I wasn't born yet. I went to Dallas this weekend and supported a friend of mine who's running for the Texas Congressional 26th District. And we had a great time, and it was a very, very enlightening experience to see her campaign and how things are unfolding and the challenges that she's facing, given the district that she's in. It's a pretty huge district in comparison, to many districts, of course, and to the state of Alaska, a whole state compared to a district. But nonetheless, she's dealing with almost just as many people. But it was great. We had a great time. One of her members of her team, ironically enough, is he's from Alaska as well. So we hit it right off. So I walked through the door. He was like, I heard so much about you and everything else. And we clicked right away. We had a great time. And then we all went out to dinner here. And just like I said, we just had a blast, and it was great. And so, for for those who don't know, and if you're in the Dallas area and you're looking to support, check it out.
Hey, so we're up here in Dallas area with my best friend, who is also a congressional candidate for the Texas Congressional District 26.
That's the one.
Raven Harrison. You need to go out and support, donate, support, donate again, and get her into Congress so she can make some changes and kick the swamp out and drain it.
That's right.
So
Slay and Swamp.
Go to
RavenHarrison.com.
Absolutely. Make it happen. Talk to y'all later.
So yeah, check it out. Raven for Harris, Raven for Texas. The name is Raven Harrison. Raven for Texas at RavenForTexas.com, and support her and help her get into the to Congress there. And my daughter, one of my daughters, did a debut on the local news, promoting her business, and I was very proud. You know, it was a daddy moment. You know, I was like, oh, look at that.
And she makes skincare and hair care products. She says skincare is a great way to treat yourself.
I like the skincare for Valentine's Day because you want to focus on self-care before anything.
Miss Quinn is another vendor with her.
So good stuff. You know, proud of everybody doing great things out there, and you know, I realized over the weekend as well that I was deleted from one of the premier newspaper websites in Alaska. There, Must Read Alaska deleted me from their email distro list and their Facebook page. I wonder why. But no worries. I still have people feeding me information anyway, so it didn't matter. But we're going to jump to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to jump right into it and get into some things, because our education system is under, it's been under attack, but it's in perilous times right now, and I wanted to discuss some things with you all about that. So keep it locked right here. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Everything that's reported on television isn't always true, but it should be. NTD, the power of truth. Now available 24/7 on television and streaming platforms.
Greetings, Student Generation Army. I'm so grateful to be connected with you, my listeners. You are some of the most engaged, responsive, loving, and caring people I know. I need to bring to your attention an urgent need for our ministries in India. While there has become a focus on the Uyghurs in China, our ministries in Jammu, Kashmir, and Punjab are being terrorized by those same Uyghurs, the Taliban, and the mounting CCP army at the border of India. Between these threats and the lockdowns, we find ourselves in need of additional financial support. I'm asking for your help to support these pastors and their families, our orphans, our widows, our Bible students, and our community outreaches. $15 will feed a pastor's family for a month. $20 funds our sewing school instructor, and $150 a week funds our base operations, the orphans, the Bible school students, even the sewing school, and our senior Indigenous pastor Samuel. So please go to paypal.me/Pastor Greg. That's paypal.me/Pastor Greg. Or you can call me at 209-380-8654, 209-380-8654 to make your donation over the phone. Please call us, contact me today, and make your best donation. Thank you, and God bless you.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Hey! Teacher, leave them kids alone. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. We don't need no education. We don't need no school control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teachers, leave them kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave us kids alone. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? If you don't eat your meat, yes, can't you behind the great shed? Can you have any?
Hey, welcome back. So that was Pink Floyd with "Brick in the Wall." So that this is today's theme. You know, we're looking at, you know, the, like I said, you know, before I took the break, was, you know, we're in perilous times with our education system right now, and this song prolifically speaks volumes to what's going on. You know, just teachers, hey, leave the kids alone, do your job, just teach what, you know, the curriculum requires for them to graduate and be successful in life. And I say that because over last week, the a DC school, Washington DC school, was teaching the kids, kindergartners no less, teaching kindergartners how to be political activists. versus learning their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And it's a bewilderment to me that these teachers are okay with this, that adults in this facility, from the janitor, security guard, the teachers, the administrators, you name it, anybody over the age of 18 in this school, I am utterly ashamed of you that you're okay with what was going on with these kids. I don't care if this was only a 3-minute thing or a 30-minute thing. It shouldn't have been a thing at all. Because the problem with the children today is they don't know a damn thing that pertains to life and how to get through life. At their ages, at 5, 6, 7 years old, at their ages, they should be holistically focused on learning, not learning to be activists that will benefit them nowhere in life. But here's a look. I played that a few times because I wanted to nail that point home of what these little kids are being subjugated to while you, mom, dad, uncle, auntie, grandma, grandpa, are away from them, out of their presence, for upwards to 8, 9 hours a day. This is what they're being subjugated to, ladies and gentlemen. Some radical harebrain telling these kids to draw on a piece of cardboard and a stick, some slogan or another, and parade around in the hallways screaming Black Lives Matter. Now, people probably have not thought about this, so I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what everybody else is thinking or not thinking. Chanting Black Lives Matter in the wake of black people still dying and no one says anything about them tells me this, that it's not about Black Lives Matter. It's not about a black person mattering. No, it's a chant, a salute, a homage to an ideology, to a false prophet that, you're showing allegiance to this entity. It's not about showing solidarity to a ethnic group that has been, subjugated to oppression, slavery, and what have you, because at the end of the day, every ethnicity has been through those perilous times. But this is more so a nefarious activity perpetrated to show that they're actually giving a damn about black people when they actually don't, because they would have took those millions of dollars and put that money into the communities of those that they allegedly represent, but instead they bought mansions, luxury cars, and took exotic trips around the world. So that's where I have a problem with all this. But anyways, I digress. But it's a woosah woosah, because it really pisses me off. Because day in and day out, I'm on the phone, emails, chat rooms, what have you, discussing these very issues as to why a 13-year-old who was on Fox News the other day, he wore a Blue Lives Matter face mask, and the substitute teacher berated this kid because he showed solidarity and support to the police. And all the while, this substitute teacher is saying that the Blue Lives Matter flag, the mask that the kid was wearing, is akin to the Confederate flag. Like, how do you draw that parallel? I don't know, number one. Number two, what I found to be actually the saddest part of the whole diatribe and the interaction between the two was that the kid said he didn't even know what the Confederate flag was. He's 13 years old. And I said, my God. We're running around worrying about the wrong things. This 13-year-old kid is being berated on something he has no clue about. With an adult, no less, mind you, let's just get that out there. With a 13-year-old, 14, however old he was, a teenager, having a political debate with an adult in a classroom full of other kids about the symbolism behind a face mask. And it ended up showing that the kid didn't even know what the Confederate flag was. So this teacher is berating this kid about something that he has no clue about, versus saying, okay, class, today we're going to take an example of this is the Confederate flag. What's the Confederate flag? I'm about to tell you. And boom. This mask that you're wearing, if you want to take it political against the kid, that mask you're wearing, to me, because it is a subjective point of view, to me is akin to, you know, the Confederate flag. I can accept that. Although, albeit it won't be right, but I can deal with it. I can deal with the contextualization of it. But, whoo, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, we're please, I implore you, get involved in your children's education. Get involved in the schools and see what they have going on there. Because when your kid comes home crying and upset that they're being forced into something that runs contradictory to what you may be showing them at home or how they're raised, it poses a problem. It sets them into a dichotomy of living a lie while they're at school just to get the grade. And no child should have to go through that. So parents, continue to stand up for your children. And you know, I would say, excuse me, I would say that, you know, this chart tells the story. Here we have, you know, based from the Global Education League, a table that shows the ranking of the education system around the world. You see where the United States ranks. 36th in the world. Mathematics score is a 461. Reading score, 488. Science score, 497. Now, if you want to get into the weeds of, you know, what does that mean and all of that, please take the time to do that on your own, so you have a better, have an understanding, a holistic understanding as to, you know, what those things, what those scores mean. But you look at who's number one. Shanghai, China. Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea. They're ranking in the top 5 almost. Although South Korea is 16th, but still, nonetheless. Well, I'm sorry, 10th. But nonetheless, the United States ranking 36. The United Kingdom, our quote unquote, you know, sister country in a sense, ranks 28. So, and then 65th in the percentile there is Peru. We are running almost borderline. We're running almost borderline to a third world country almost in education. Although we're allegedly, you know, the leader, the country is the leader of the free world. We're supposed to be the shining light, the beacon city on the hill to the rest of the world. But we're running around looking dumb as hell. And we have adults perpetuating this in the classrooms, teaching kids things that have no applicability to their adult lives whatsoever. Never will, even. I have no clue how is it possible, or the application of the matter, that a child learning in K through 12 that you are oppressed. Go fill out a job application. What are your skills? I'm oppressed. Next. Like, come on, folks. We're literally setting up our posterity for utter failure. Utter failure. If you think these kids in the United States are going to go abroad, meaning crossing the ocean to the left or right, the Pacific or the Atlantic, and they're going to land in some country and they will be able to advance themselves with the mentality that they're being embedded with right now, you are sadly mistaken. Just because you see some things, some instances of these things happening on TV in these countries does not mean that is the reality or that is the life over there. Those are one-off shoot situations. The evidence is how the governments of these countries are running the world today, despite how the United States calls themselves the leader of the free world. China and Russia right now, colluding, working together to advance their nation's causes, their nation's agendas, while we are sitting back playing wokeology and saying that, you know, oh, we're gonna root out racism, oh, we're gonna make sure we acknowledge and appoint people of various backgrounds to certain positions, just in spite their qualifications. Oh, you're black, you're hired. Oh, you're Mexican, you're hired. Wow. This is where we at, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we at. So don't be taken aback. Don't be surprised that when the nukes start flying, those missiles are soaring over your head, and everybody's hiding in some cubby hole somewhere because they don't know what to do, because wokeology did not teach them how to defend a nation. Wokeology didn't teach them how to survive by hunting. Wokeology didn't teach them how to, you know, I don't know, defend themselves. Hey, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. But moving on. Evelyn England, 62-year-old woman in Alabama. She just recently retired. Congratulations. Hats off to you, ma'am. Job well done. She recently retired as a receptionist from working at the first White House of the Confederacy in Montgomery, Alabama. And I found the story to be unique and interesting, and it's very much related to education, because today's theme is our broken education system. And this lady here, she gives recounts of her time over the last 12 years working at this facility from a white perspective and a black perspective. Blacks looked at her crazy sideways, like, how can you work here? You know, this is the home of Jefferson Davis. And I will get into Jefferson Davis in a minute. You know, this is the home of Jefferson Davis. How can you as a black person work here? White people are looking at her like, how can you as a black person work here? You're not wanted here, you know, type of thing. So she faced both dichotomies of the mindsets that still linger to this very day in terms of the perception of how black people should, you know, carry themselves or where they should be in society. And she, you know, took it with stride, because guess what? Ding, ding, ding. It was a paycheck. You know, $34,700 annual salary as a receptionist. Not a bad gig in Alabama, of all places, at that. So she was given, you know, so much hell over the years by people of various backgrounds, you know, about her employment there, that she took the time to actually involve herself in the day-to-day operations of the museum, learning, you know, different things about, you know, artifacts and Jefferson Davis and who he was and what he was about and all that jazz. And she took issue with a lot of it, the way Jefferson Davis was presented to the public as this patriotic, heroic figure, when he was exactly the opposite. And she brought these things up. She got reprimanded on several occasions for her position and her views on things about Jefferson Davis and about the facility and how the operations was ran there. And they gradually made changes, but not changes big enough to make a difference and to appease, or satisfy her desire as to how things should have been told as it was done in history, which I fully understand, because even to this very day, we, because of the miseducation and the lack of education that's being portrayed in our school system, that it permeates over time, that people actually don't know or really understand the mindset that Jefferson Davis had. Jefferson Davis, for all intent and purposes, he was a very, very avid person, an avid man about his causes. He was a devout segregationist. He was a slave owner, and he served in the Mississippi Senate, which he served in the Mississippi Senate, went on to Congress first in the U.S. House, and then on to the Mississippi Senate, the senator for Mississippi, excuse me, and then broke off from that and decided, since Mississippi is going to secede from the Union, despite how he personally felt about that idea, he went along with it anyways, and subsequently became the president of the Confederacy. Now, in 1860, watch this. There's a funny thing. In 1863, he was captured, arrested, put in prison for 2 years for being not sedition, for insurrection. I can't think of the word right now, but he was put in jail nonetheless, and his citizenship, I am tired today, his citizenship was taken away from him. He was no longer considered a U.S. citizen because of this, because of his actions and what have you. So Democrats, let me back up, Republicans did all of this. They stripped the citizenship rights of all of the Confederate leaders at the time and everything else, right? So in an act of reconciliation in 1876, the Congress passed what was called the Reconciliation Act of 1867, restoring the citizenship rights of those who fought in the Civil War on behalf of the Confederacy under leadership positions in 1876, mind you. This is almost 15 years after, a little bit more than 10 years after the Civil War has ended. With the exception of Jefferson Davis. They say, yeah, no, we're going to leave this guy off the list. Let him, just live in obscurity for the rest of his natural life, however long that may be. And all was well. He accepted that and moved on. However, you should not be surprised that Democrats, almost 100 years later, literally 100 years later, almost, in 1978, President Jimmy Carter restored, posthumously restored his citizenship to Jefferson Davis. Why? Who cared? What was going on? You have to ask yourself this, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to be objectively honest about this. Who in the blue hell cared whether or not Jefferson Davis got his citizenship status back, and the mofo is dead and gone, dust? It's like, yeah, well, he did that, and move on. Like, who sat around in the White House or in Congress, wherever they were at, and said, you know what, Jefferson Davis is still not a U.S. citizen. Mr. President, can you restore Jefferson Davis's citizenship? Sure, yeah, that's crazy. Like, who of all the things that was going on at the time in 1978, the Iran hostage crisis, I mean, like, folks, can't make this stuff up. I really can't. You can't make it up if you try. But this goes back to, it goes to show you that the Democrats have a two-faced, hypocritical mindset on how things are. They will sit up here up and down and argue you till they are blue in the face, no pun intended, that the Republicans and the Democrats switched sides in the 1960s. I always ask the question, okay, so let me get this right. Congress just came in one day, came into the chamber after an election, whatever, after the holiday break, and said, hey, we're going to become Republicans today, and you become the Democrats. You know, let's just switch our affiliations. Okay, yeah, sounds good. All right. All right. Congress is now in session. You guys are now the Democrats, we're the Republicans. No, it did not happen that way. And I wish people would stop perpetuating that lie, because it sounds stupid. And you know it sounds stupid. But you need to cling onto something to have an argument, or to have some kind of internal validation for your affiliation with something that is so egregiously existing as these folks. But outside of all that, Jimmy Carter, a Democrat, upholding the mantra of the Democrat Party, restored the rights of a Confederate leader in 1978. But you don't learn that in school. You don't really learn that in history. It's obscure history. But there are people that know that, and they keep that very close to their chest, because it runs counterintuitive, it runs counterproductive, it runs counter everything to the narrative that Democrats want you to believe today, that they are pro the minority. But yet and still, they do actions that are anti-minority. Folks, we need to get back into the school system. We need to revisit history as it happened. Jefferson Davis went on to die off somewhere, and is buried in, I believe, I want to say Maryland. I believe he's buried in Maryland, if my memory serves me correctly. But in any case, we have the museum dedicated to him in Alabama, where a black woman worked at, learned so much more than what she was taught in her traditional education, through the lens of interacting with people, interacting with the objects in the museum, and interacting with the curators, historians, and everything else, that she walked away from a job, securing retirement at that, with a different point of view about race relations in America. Although I'm not going to get into the whole race thing in terms of being people, because we are a human race and we're not racist. Different races, But anyways, we'll jump to a quick break. When we come back, I got some juicy stuff for you. So keep it locked right here, and see you in a couple minutes.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Places are really nothing more
than a stage that I'll walk away from memories. They're in the past, they'll never see my face, although they beg me stay. 'Cause I am the only one who'd give up everything to sing a prayer for you, to share the pain you bring. If you can hear me now, that I have not lived in vain. The time has come for us to cast off these chains. Cast off these chains. 'Cause I hear voices, they tell me all the things that I should say, but I'm not listening to choices that all the world thinks that I should make. I pave my own way, yeah. 'Cause I am the only one who give up everything to sing a prayer for you, to share the pain you bring. If you can hear me now, then I have not lived in vain. The time has come for us to cast off these chains. I am the only one who give up everything to sing a prayer for you, to share the pain you bring. If you can hear me now, that I have not lived in vain. The time has come for us to cast off these chains. Cast off these chains.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hey, welcome back. So that was Chains by Brian Kelly, courtesy, it's not courtesy, excuse me, owned by Mark Woodhead. He now has the exclusive rights to that song. And today's music was actually provided by Mark Woodhead. You know, we was chatting last night, and he was saying, "What's your show going to be about today?" I said, "About education, about a broken education system." And he said, "I got something for you." And so he sent me those things. I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much. Salute to you, sir. Hope all is well. But another friend, he sent me a clip out of actually it's the whole entire school board meeting, but I'm only going to play a portion of it, out of Tiverton County, Rhode Island, where the controversy of a book that was being utilized in a language arts class called All American Boys, and I'm going to touch on it here in a minute. But the problem here was that this book was pushing a narrative that, cops are bad and they only target black people and kill black people. And the book contained a lot of graphic language, promoted, sex, promoted underage drinking, promoted drugs and what have you. And the teacher utilized this book in the classroom to drive this narrative and pushing this political agenda of hers. But she kind of utilize the fact that throughout education history, in the language arts specifically, that these kind of books have always been used despite how it made, people feel. 100% true. To Kill a Mockingbird, Of Mice and Men, Uncle Tom's Cabin. The list goes on. Catcher in the Rye. A lot of books have been utilized in schools to gin up conversation and, to expose, the mindset or the societal ways of a particular given time. True enough. And this particular book here is speaking to the contemporary times in which police interactions with minorities seem to be a prevalent thing in media. True enough. However, when you shut down debate, when you shut down opinion, when you shut down the idea that, it's not all cops, it's just, these bad apples. You shut down those conversations and you want to push and drive a narrative so much so that it makes the child feel uncomfortable and say, Daddy, 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 this is some bullshit. That's where you have to, as a teacher, kind of have to step back and say, you know what? They're right. Let's teach this objectively. Here's the reading assignment. Read through it. Here's some objective questions, not subjective questions, because the questionnaire that accompanied this as a way of determining if they understood the reading assignment was also pointed questions such as, the cop was racist towards black people. Was he not? You're really giving an answer. If you say no, it's going to probably be marked wrong. Yes, he was racist because he did. Come on, folks. But here's the clip right here, and I want y'all to take a look.
Personnel litigation or contract negotiations. So I believe it's Mr. Hemling wanted to speak with us.
That is correct, Dr. Locke and Dustin Hemling. Please turn your camera on and unmute yourself, sir.
Great. So please just introduce yourself and your address.
Hi there, my name's Dustin Hemling. I live at 739 East Road. On December 16th, I requested to be on the agenda. I have a copy of the request. I submitted to the superintendent's office as required by the rules. I was denied the opportunity to be on the agenda for January 11th and then also for tonight's agenda, but what I have to say shouldn't take longer than 3 minutes at the most, so I hope that's okay. I'm here tonight regarding the book All American Boys that's currently being taught in our 9th grade English class. Now, I've read the book and I would encourage everyone else to do the same, but I'll quickly read the synopsis. All American Boys is a young adult novel that looks at a specific instance of police brutality from the perspectives of 2 high school classmates. Rashad, who is savagely beaten by a local policeman who wrongly suspects him of shoplifting and assaulting a white woman, and Quinn, who sees the beating and initially pretends he didn't. It's a fictional reflection of real-life police encounters with young black men that ended badly. This book is currently ranked number 3 on the American Library Association of most challenged books in the United States, and it has been since 2020. Another book on last year's Tiverton Summer Reading List, The Hate U Give, ranked number 10 on the same list. Both books have been flagged by the ALA for profanity, drug use, alcoholism, and promotion of anti-police views and divisive topics. I'll read a quick excerpt from the book. It does contain explicit language that for the most part I've censored. And this conversation is between 2 teenage boys. Since when have you ever gotten off your ass, let alone thrown a punch when you were stoned, man? F-U-C-K-U, man. No, F-U-C-K-U, Quinn. That dude doesn't do drugs. His dad would kick his ass. You do drugs, a-hole. Just a puff here and a puff there, man. Come on, I don't do drugs. There are several more passages I could read, but I think you get the idea. Tonight, I want to pose 2 questions to the school committee that I posed to the superintendent's office yesterday. Why does Tiverton have books being taught in school that are in the top 10 most challenged books in the United States? I mean, it's a fair question. With thousands of books to choose from, why did we choose these? I mean, a simple internet search brings up, the titles brings up several red flags, for lack of a better term. And my second question, if my child was caught using the language in this book or referencing drug and alcohol abuse in the school hallway, would there be disciplinary action taken? The answer is unequivocally yes, and there should be. There's even a sign posted in the district office that says profane language is subject to arrest and prosecution under Rhode Island general law. But apparently 13 and 14-year-olds reading in class, listening to it on audiobook is acceptable. Is this the district's current stance? Unfortunately, in today's world, a school district only gets attention in one of two ways. One, when the school board meetings descend into chaos and are broadcasted on social media for the world to see. Or number two, because they're exceptional. We should choose to be exceptional. I'd like to read one more excerpt in closing. My mother and I had calmed down and were watching Family Feud, laughing at some of the stupid answers people were coming up with. Name something you might find under your bed. A monster. No, they don't hide under there no more. Or in closets, Spoonie said, making an entrance as usual. They hide in plain sight with uniforms and badges. Let's not teach our children to vilify the people that we trust and pay to keep us safe. Why don't we teach them that 99% of the men and women in uniform would throw themselves into harm's way to protect them without question? I'm very proud of what I did during my 14 years of law enforcement, and I know from a real world firsthand experience who these men and women are, and I can assure you that they're not monsters. We can do better. We have to be better. Thank you very much for letting me speak in the open forum tonight.
Okay, so just to clarify, Mr. Hemling, you were not denied for the agenda. It was just felt after considering your request that you were best served by speaking in open forum. So I believe Ms. Gray, you'd like to make us speak in open forum as well?
Yeah, I prepared something read about how the book selection came about. 5 years ago, in an effort to increase my students' interest in reading in my college prep level classes, I decided to look for a contemporary novel to pair with To Kill a Mockingbird, a novel taught in the 9th grade as well. I went to the library media specialist, Vicki Blazer, and together we looked through resources provided for educators for searches such as this. After utilizing sources such as the School Library Journal and the National English Teachers Association, and Vicki's familiarity with the book, we ultimately chose the award-winning All-American Boys, written by authors Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kiley. On a side note and of importance is that Jason Reynolds is the recipient of a Newbery Honor, a Prince Honor, an NAACP Image Award, and multiple Coretta Scott King Honors. Reynolds is also the current National Ambassador for Young People's Literature and the author of the 2021 Read Across Rhode Island selection Stamped. The book is told in first person from two different characters, one of a white teenager and the other of a Black teenager, providing connections for all readers around race relations and controversial topics that are issues in America today. The main theme of the novel is standing up for what is right, no matter how difficult that may be, a theme that is also at the forefront in To Kill a Mockingbird. This realistic fiction novel explores real-life events that students are exposed to when they turn on the news, and also provides real-life characters in different perspectives, and that is what makes the book award-winning. To address a few concerns, while I do not condone vulgar language in my classroom or my home for that matter, to pretend it doesn't exist is not the role of a high school teacher. I am certainly not teaching this language or exposing students to vocabulary they are unfamiliar with. However, it provides an opportunity for a discussion on audience and the effects of inappropriate language, and it makes the book relatable. Because like it or not, this is how some students speak when they are not in the company of their parents, other adults, role models, and teachers. The same applies to the brief mention of underage drinking. When caught by his mother, the message is sent to the character that this is unacceptable behavior. Is underage drinking a reality for some? Absolutely. Am I exposing students to something they don't know exists? Absolutely not. Is underage drinking mentioned in classic works of literature frequently taught in high schools across America? It is. Not only is this novel enjoyed by a majority of students, it highlights important and controversial topics that are best acknowledged in a classroom where they can be read together by adults and students. I've taken the time to comb through the vast resources available for teaching this book to provide my students with a productive reading experience where no race, gender, or occupation is targeted. Rather, a running discussion is held about individuals acting alone and perspective and a deep look at character and motivation. Why this book is on the top 10 most challenged books of 2021. It is accompanied by the beloved classic Pulitzer Prize Award winner To Kill a Mockingbird, as well as Of Mice and Men, written by Nobel and Pulitzer Prize winning author John Steinbeck. It should be noted, though, for those of you that are unfamiliar with these lists, that the previous year Harry Potter was on this list, and in recent years, The Kite Runner and the Bible have been on this list as well. I am proud to have chosen this book to be read in my classroom. However, due to new state mandates, we will be moving to a purchase and vetted curriculum, and this book is not part of this curriculum anymore.
So there you have the presentation of the issue with the rebuttal from the teacher herself, who is promoting this this book, in which I have right here. This is the book All American Boys, by Jason Reynolds and Brendan, I believe that's Kiley or Keeley. And you know, it's one thing, you know, when the American Library Association, ALA, says this book could be potentially harmful. You know, put a label on it saying this is a very controversial book, and you know, you say, oh, cool. Take it off the shelf and, you know, hey kids, read this. And it's one thing to do that, but my other issue that I have with the presentation of this particular part of the curriculum, if it is in fact part of the curriculum now, is that they did not send notice to the parents that they were going to be utilizing this book as part of the curriculum, so that parents can be aware of, you know, what their child is about to be exposed to, and have that follow-on discussion or even a pre-discussion saying, hey, you're about to get into this this pretty targeted book, you know, that contains, you know, some stuff that's pretty crazy, so I want you to understand XYZ, whatever that may be, ABC. They failed to do that. So to me, it tells me that, number one, there was some disingenuous a disingenuous agenda being promoted here, and they took nefarious ways to get these books into the kids' hands in order to indoctrinate them into this mindset that the teacher wanted to portray herself. And that's the only thing I can extrapolate from that, because otherwise she should not have had a problem with going through the proper channels of bringing this to the attention of parents, and even to the children, to the students beforehand, so the children can have that discussion with the parents. But they didn't do that. They just, here's the assignment, bam, surprise, here you go. So excuse me. So something, you know, something, once again, parents, that you need to be on the lookout for. Ask you know, the teachers for a copy of the curriculum, copy of a list of all the reading assignments that they're going to have throughout the year, so you can identify these things. So folks, I'm out of time. Thank you for tuning in today. You can catch me on all social media platforms at rpurham, RPURHAM. It's right above my head there. And you can support my campaign for Congress for the great state of Alaska at rpurhamforus.com. Also, you can pick up my book, The New You, Now Equipped with Wisdom, on Amazon and e-Kindle format, which the show is based on, you know, being equipped with wisdom. And the word I was looking for earlier was treason. I couldn't think of it. It's treason. It just came to me. So, but anyways, thank you all. Thank you once again to Mark Woodhead for the music today. Appreciate you. He might be back on either this Friday or next week sometime. And we're going to get into some other discussions, because I think we had a great, lively set of discussions last week. And other than that, I will hope you all have a fantastic week. Be safe, and don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Take care. God bless, and see you Friday.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.